Go behind enemy lines with the ultimate modern military shooter. Play as an American sniper dropped in Georgia near the Russian border. Choose your own path to accomplish your missions across an unforgiving open world. Welcome to episode 31 of the 5 T's of Stealth, where we will be discussing Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Once again, the 5 T's include tasks, terrain, tools, threats, and tension. These are what I consider to be the fundamentals of stealth gaming. The plot of Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, or SGW3, takes place across 4 different acts and follows the story of Jonathan North. Jonathan North is an American sniper who takes on an assignment in the country Georgia to destabilize Russian separatists and warlords in the area with the hidden objective of tracking down his missing brother. The prologue of the game is a mission completed with your younger brother who is kidnapped at the end, leading to this hidden objective. It's pretty much what you would expect from a military story with the objective of taking down enemy factions. You'll make some allies while eliminating the leaders of different factions and then eventually come across Armazi, an enhanced soldier and higher up of the 23 Society, a group who is pulling the strings from behind the scenes. 23 Society has advanced technology and is working to create super soldiers, and I quit caring pretty quickly, to be honest. There's nothing really wrong with the story, but it's just simple and generic, and of course, surprise, your missing brother is the badass enemy super soldier. Simply put, you don't play these games for the story. Your objectives are pretty similar to the first 2 games. You'll mostly be sneaking into a stronghold to eliminate a target, but you will also have missions where you will rescue hostages, plant explosives, or even alter enemy satellites. Fun fact, after I rescued some hostages for the first time, they actually got in a car to leave and ran me over. Yes, it was my fault, but sue me, I had to know if it would happen. There's also the satisfying missions where you provide support from a sniper position and cover an ally on the ground who calls out targets. But there sadly weren't any spotter missions in this game where an ally guides you through a stronghold. There are also side ops or side missions, but I had no interest in them and completed 0, so I have no words. The same can be said with the open world activities. I had no interest, so I didn't interact with them. But it seems there are different types of challenges, such as climbing difficult terrain or finding a secret place. These challenges appear to provide weapon unlocks, but I can't say for certain if that's the reward for all of them. Another open world activity is the Most Wanted list, which is just a list of names that are special targets to go eliminate. All missions can be started from your safe house at the laptop within. You will then drive to the location, complete the objective, and then you have to exfil by leaving the specific mission area. Before we move on, I should note that I completed the game on hard. This is an open world game, so right away there's a big impact on the level design. There are 3 separate open areas: the village, dam, and mining town. I really don't have much to say about any of them since I didn't interact with the open world much and just full sent on the story. The 3 areas may have some visual differences, but aside from that, I don't think I could have told you when I was in each area. Naturally, there are a ton of points of interest across all 3 open world areas. Some of these are more exciting than others, but you will come across areas such as a hotel, a mountain maze, a train station, a church, a mine, and other buildings and ruins. While the open world structure of this game definitely feels like a downgrade, a major upgrade in this game is how the map design gives the player more creativity. You no longer have a linear road to follow all the way to an enemy stronghold, but rather, once you're at the mission location, you can complete things however you choose. Do you want to find a sniper nest to start clearing out enemies? Run through the doors guns blazing? Or go full-on ghost mode, finding hidden entrances and routes to sneak past enemy lines? I have said it countless times, but I love when a stealth game allows you to experiment and doesn't take away or limit your creativity. There's nothing wrong with a linear game, but the first 2 Sniper Ghost Warrior games were not just linear, they were very straightforward with no room to think. I'd also like to mention that sadly some of the awkward and weird terrain from the first game has made a reappearance in SGW3, and sometimes I would get caught on stairs in weird spots or couldn't walk up slopes. Your loadout in SGW3 consists of a primary weapon, which is your sniper, a secondary, which can be an assault rifle, LMG, shotgun, or even a bow, and your sidearm, which is of course a pistol or revolver. There are a ton of options for each slot, but I'm definitely not going to take the time to list all the different snipers and whatnot. Each weapon can be customized further, allowing for bigger magazine sizes, silencers, camos, and even different ammo types. Every weapon does not have access to the same things, however, so make sure you're paying attention once you get to customizing. Moving on in our loadout, you've got a knife with 4 different options, which as far as I could tell are just cosmetic differences. You have several equipment options and can carry up to 6 once all slots are unlocked, but I believe the default is 4. Once again, there are a ton of equipment options, so I'm not going to name them all, but there's several different grenades such as a frag, smoke, or flash. There's different devices for detecting enemies, more explosives such as C4 and bouncing betties, night vision goggles, and finally, the return of my beloved throwing knives. Equipment can be alternated on the same wheel, and by default, you'll also have a luring stone to distract enemies. Next, you can equip armor, either light, medium, or heavy, and you can equip 3 different healing items, adrenaline, pills, and a medkit, all of which heal for different amounts and can be used in different situations, whether you're running, walking, or have to be standing still. Finally, you can modify your drone. Modifications include bigger battery life, more camouflage, better marking capabilities, and more. Modifying your weapons and loadout will require a certain amount of currency. Honestly, the symbol looks like a dollar sign, but I have no idea if that's what we're working with. Money is required to buy upgrades, ammo, and more. The alternative is to go to the workbench and craft the ammo or equipment you need, which of course brings along 4 or 5 more different currencies with it. I pretty much just avoided the crafting and bought whatever I needed. Aside from your loadout, you have 3 different skill trees: Sniper, Ghost, and Warrior, each of which level up separately. Whenever you eliminate an enemy, you will earn XP in one of 3 colors, indicating which tree is affected. These skill trees might be among the worst I've ever seen. There's some solid generic stuff that will let you reload faster, hold your breath longer, improve healing items, or just give you more health, but there's also a ton of options that are all just about finding loot. Gain XP to unlock abilities to help you find more of the currencies you're already ignoring. What a great system. Honestly, if you want to completely avoid these skill trees, I wouldn't blame you, as you wouldn't really miss a thing. Let's talk about more general things or options not involving your loadout. General movement feels solid, allowing you to sprint, jump, crouch, go prone, slide, climb, and mantle ledges. You have access to a scout mode, which will highlight objectives, show enemy footprints, indicate a mine's range, and highlight ledges at the cost of stamina. This will also highlight objects in the area that you can shoot to distract enemies. This can also be upgraded in the skill trees, but I didn't really care as the upgrades were at the very end. Noise is an important factor in this game, and on your minimap, you will see how much noise you are making, indicated by a red circle around your player arrow. Walking makes some noise while crouching is much quieter, and naturally you'll want a silencer to keep your shots quiet. Your silencers will actually wear out and eventually break, which is where the silencer repair kit comes into play. Many areas will have zip lines, which are of course helpful for maneuvering around the map or getting down from a vantage point. There are also several hiding spots, including lockers, trash cans, and car trunks. With this being an open world game, you've been given a car to get around, and there are several fast travel points that can be unlocked. I'm happy to say that the stealth takedown is still here in SGW3, and in addition, you can choose to instead interrogate an enemy to try and get some useful information. Another new addition is the ability to move bodies, which is always a nice touch, and you can hack cameras in the area if you can find the terminal to do so. Let's talk sniping, which in my opinion is still easily the biggest highlight of this franchise, but that shouldn't come as a surprise. A new addition in this game is adjusting the elevation of your scope to match the distance of your target. Real simple addition, but honestly you could probably ignore this most of the time. In hard mode, you do not get the red dot for the bullet drop trajectory, and honestly, I prefer having to line it up myself. It was incredibly satisfying altering my scope zoom and elevation, then adjusting the angle for how much wind was present, then getting that bullet cam all the way for the headshot. The supported stance has also made its way into this game and allows you to set your sniper on some cover in front of you to help with aiming. I found that most of the time, the restriction to your aim simply isn't worth using the stance. I would say this is probably the best the sniping has felt, even if zooming in and out felt a little clunky, and I'm happy to see that they're building on what they learned from each game. I almost forgot to mention the drone in more detail. The drone is pretty much what you would expect. Activate the drone, then control it, flying around marking enemies on your minimap. It's nice having to work for the enemy locations with a little drone, but honestly, it felt pretty shitty to control, but maybe that's just me. And if you're not careful, enemies will be alerted by your drone and actually shoot it down. Once again, your main enemy present is soldiers. Soldiers come in all shapes and sizes with all sorts of different weaponry. Snipers are always a problem, so gotta make sure to keep an eye out for them, especially when they're hidden. Detection seems to have had another rework, and thankfully, the loud ass annoying beeping has been replaced by a new audio cue that slowly gets louder as the detection bar fills up. If a sniper is looking at you, you'll also get a little scope symbol next to the detection bar so you know to start looking up and around for hidden snipers. As mentioned earlier, cameras are present in this game and will alert enemies if they spot you, and I only noticed them on the final mission, but there are some sentry turrets which will really mess you up, but you can hack them to shut them off. I also mentioned mines earlier, which work as expected. If you get too close, they will explode, but they can also be shut off by hacking them. My favorite addition was actually quite a surprise, and that's the mortars. Many locations will have mortars scattered around, and if the soldiers are on alert, sometimes they'll just start blasting mortars in your general area, even if they don't know where you are. As I mentioned earlier, as you progress through the story, you'll run into the 23 Society, which has advanced technology. I'd like to tell you that this adds an all new exciting element to the gameplay, but sadly, it really just adds tankier enemies. That's really all it does. Now, instead of one tapping every enemy, some enemies will just tank a few hits, and there's even heavily armored enemies that will just straight up eat lead. In my notes, I've simply referred to them as fancy soldiers, which kind of makes me laugh a little since I'm sure no soldier would want to be referred to as the fancy soldier. Lastly, there's also wolves that I only ever saw once or twice, but allegedly these guys will attack you. I say allegedly since I saw them once in the prologue and we just snuck past them, then again when driving through the open world, but I didn't stop to get out and say hello, I just kept driving towards that map marker. Actually, speaking of map markers, do not trust them. I can't tell you how many times I was following the map marker to a location and then got ambushed. Make sure you always quit at least 100 meters away, or you'll probably be punished for trusting the game. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, just like its predecessors, actually does provide a solid level of tension, at least sometimes. When you have to actively infiltrate an area while searching for a person or item, you really have to be careful so you don't get annihilated. But if a mission just has you go to a sniper location, then eliminate a target, it's pretty much a walk in the park. One of my favorite aspects is when you're being pinned down by an imaginary sniper. By imaginary, I simply mean that a detection bar is filling up from a sniper that I can't see. It really makes me think I'm going to get murked by a hidden sniper, so I gotta be careful as I scout the area and try to get a shot off first. The real issue is just how bloated and unnecessary a lot of the mechanics in this game feel. Do I really need to drive 1,000 meters before every mission? The open world is so empty and irrelevant that I simply do not understand its existence. You are the only car ever on the road, and 99% of the time, you're just driving on empty roads, while the other 1% is driving too close to a stronghold that'll shoot at you for a few seconds until you're out of range. I actually have no problem with adding a car and driving mechanics, but they're just so meaningless here in this game. The only reason I'm driving around is to get to each mission, when in reality, you can just load me in front of that area, even if the loading screens in this game are unbearably long. There's just no purpose for it. On top of that, there's all these different currencies and all these chests full of loot. There is no reason for this. I get wanting to add depth, but this isn't depth, it's just annoying, especially when you've made it so I can just buy whatever I need. Let's ditch all the crafting components and honestly the game would be in a much better place. When I first started this game, I was genuinely grimacing from all the bloat being forced into my brain and all these pointless open world mechanics. These aspects really hurt the game, but funnily enough, the gameplay side of things just feels so good. It is hilarious to me how this franchise just continues to improve in some aspects and then randomly decides to worsen in others. I'm really feeling constantly blindsided. There's also some ridiculous pop-in issues. Seriously, why are enemies hidden from certain ranges? This is a damn sniper game, and I want to hit some crazy long shots. So why are you working against me? I really just don't know how to feel about this game. There's just so much jank and BS, but when you are actually in the thick of it and taking down enemies, it feels pretty damn solid. It's just that, again, every aspect surrounding the actual gameplay feels bloated and unnecessary. While I really appreciate many of the improvements present in Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, it's still riddled with issues that simply shouldn't exist, and in many ways, this game is the worst the series has ever been. I'm happy that I was able to push past the atrocity that is this open world, but I can't help but feel disappointed as I complete the third installment in this franchise.